So today is Friday. I will be posting this later today. I want to talk about that vision, but the first things I want to come through is a message for someone. I have a channel song. It's Last Night. I'll link it below. This is for someone who I feel has either reached out to me or was wanting to reach out to me. I haven't checked my messages, so I don't know if you already have or not, but I'm not open for readings, you guys, but this particular individual I feel is wanting to see if I would be open for readings, and this song should answer whatever it is that you're looking for. So there's that. I feel a very apprehensive and shy energy that comes from you as well. So there's that. Then another message, and I felt your energy along like months ago, okay? And it feels like, I don't know if I brought you up. I'm pretty sure I did, but I don't know. I guess you're just coming through again. Because it's this lingering energy where back in the day when I had my comments open, and then I shut them down, then I brought them back. You would have left me a negative comment back then, and now you're coming back to watch my videos, and it's this feeling of remorse. And so, I don't know, just you're forgiven. I don't know, maybe you want my forgiveness, like you feel bad, but it's like, it's just kind of a weird feeling, you know? It's like you watch my videos and it feels weird because you regret doing that. So it's fine. It's not a big deal. I don't care. That's your karma, not mine. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, it is, but it doesn't bother me. Okay. So on a personal level, I think energetically it's not good to do that, guys. So moving on, back to my vision. Okay, so where do I start? Let me just like tell you guys before I'm just gonna go with it and tell you like what's coming up. So I'm seeing Jesus like the commonly depicted Jesus, right? Like a white Jesus, long hair, you know, like the crown of thorns, bloody, like on a cross. I'm seeing Jesus on a cross, okay? And then I'm hearing lineage and blood, like blood family, right? Like bloodline. And they're pointing to how it's all about bloodlines, right? And like Mary, right? So they're bringing up Catholicism and how Mary is significant, obviously, because she gave birth to Jesus, but she's acknowledged because she's the lineage of Abraham, right? So it's like bloodline. I'm hearing a bell, like ding, 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 and it's off in the distance, and they're pulling me to the bell. They're like dinging it to pull me to the bell, to go to the bell because there's more information there. And they're saying like change your energy to get to the bell. Like I have to adjust my energy to get to the bell. And they're showing omnipresence, like God being omnipresent, like God as creator. So like the supreme being, right? Like the elite visionary, like the creator. Okay, so we're talking about the creator and the omnipresence of God. And then they're pointing out like too much. It's not too much. It's just like a lot. Okay, so they're like, so they're showing like the supreme being, like God. Okay, so it's like, here's like God, right? Like there's God, and then there's, you know, like here, and then like the arena of all that exists in this. It's not just the reality, it's like realities within realities within realities within everything. So it's like anything that you can imagine and then beyond your imagination exists within this. And so it's like bloodline, like the Jesus bloodline. So it's like Abraham bloodline. It's like God gave birth to a God, like the God of this, all that we know of us. So it's like that's like our grandpa, and that's like our father, right? So it's like, and then they're bringing up Egypt, and they're like yanking me to Egypt. Have not done, you know, I got all those signs and birds and all this crazy stuff, and like I just was getting it from there. I wasn't looking like I was supposed to, but I did see that, like it's kind of like what I'm seeing here, but I guess I'm getting more like detail of this. But they're going from like Egypt, and then they're pulling me to like to the side, and they're like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like if they were showing, it's like if I was showing you something and you're looking at it, and there's like other stuff on the table, right? And I want you to look at like all of it, but I'm looking at this. So then I'm like pulling him, like, look over there too. Like, don't just look there, and don't forget, like, don't have like, you know, singular vision. Look at everything. See? So they're like pulling me, and I'm seeing this like a spoken, really like an old religion, like something older than like Egyptians and stuff, and it's more oral shared, you know. And then they're bringing up God again, like they're bringing up, I'm gonna say, like, when I say God, if I just say God, then just think like Jesus, God, like everything that kind of umbrellas under like the light being of this like world and like worlds or whatever, right? So like God, Buddha, like anything of the light. If I say like supreme being, creator, like God or something, I try and like clarify, then it's like this. Okay, so then they're bringing this up, and they're like God, and how, why they're telling me to back, and they're like, go back to the omnipresence, and then go to this, and then they're pulling the information away. So it's like I'm slow, like the more they pull it away, the more I'm forgetting. So they're like pulling it away from me. They're like, go back to the omnipresence, then go back to this when it's like so here we go. So omnipresence, so they're talking about how like God and the supreme being are omnipresent, right? So like God, and then the supreme God of the good, this good, right? Like this is the creator of all created, that has created this God. And I'm seeing like multiples, and so it's like the omnipresence is because we are of spirit. And so it's kind of like this, it's not really a honing device, I guess, but it's like, I will know everything about you, not just through experience of being in your shoes to some capacity, but also because of the fact that you are of me, right? And so I know everything about you. I feel you, right? It's like if you think about Avatar, you know, and they are like all interconnected, and they hook up to those little like beings or whatever. You know, it's like we're all interconnected, right? And vibrationally, I mean, we know that. I don't even have to compare it to Avatar. I could just compare it to real life, right? Like we're all interconnected. So it's like this is on an extreme, profound, full, loving, aware capacity, right? And so then they're comparing it to like darkness, and they're like, when I say it, it like kind of like explodes. It's like if I had like an asteroid And then I don't know why I'm using this example. I had an asteroid and I crashed it and it like exploded into a million pieces. It's like when I say that, it explodes to a million pieces. And they're pointing this out and they're like ding, 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 of like everything I've talked about before, where there's like the darkness of the collected consciousness. So it's like the unhealed, I guess, or like the more of like the way that we collectively create. We can create darkness like demons and stuff, but it doesn't actually exist. And then there's also like the dark energies that have always existed. They've never actually been human or alien or anything. They're always of spirit and they exist in the dark, so on and so forth. There's all the complexities of that, right? But they're all connected to God, right? They're all still of spirit, right? They're all, and I talk about like the healed, when everyone kind of becomes like equilibrium, like everything becomes like more of higher vibration. Then those have no choice but to ascend. Like they can only reach the lowest of the collective low, right? And so anyway, so they're pointing out all of this, but they're saying like patterns, like they're not omnipresent, right? Because it's like we're not omnipresent. Even as a higher spiritual being, we're not omnipresent in the way that this is omnipresent. We can identify patterns. And so even the highest of the high that we can become, and I'm gonna get into all this other stuff that I'm gonna talk about, is like you can be super, super, super aware because you are so you know, like universally intelligent, but you're not omnipresent in that way because you haven't like given birth in the way these have given birth spiritually, right? Like you haven't given birth to something where it's like you have that super connected feeling or whatever. And so they're pointing this out because they're saying like Satan, demons, darkness, even from these other places that I haven't mentioned yet, it's like these dark beings, entities, whatever, energies, it is not omnipresent. It may appear to be omnipresent in some degree because of how much they know or how much they can, like, I guess like the word, I'm getting the word seduce. So it's like seduce, but it's like they're not always around, right? They have like for instance, like with Satan and these demons and like the thing collective, they have them do the bidding, right? So it's like they have others that relay and observe, and there's like the demons that are constantly watching. Like you get what I'm saying? So it's just like there, fine, that's enough. So they're pointing out, and they're like, so now they're bringing me to like Buddha and just like people. They're even showing like it's different. Oh my God. I need to slow down. Okay. So it's just like, it's like when I, it's just expand, it's getting too much. It's not getting too much. I don't know. Okay, moving on. Okay, so my vision that I got was pretty much what I'm saying, is just like getting into more detail, and like the aliens, I guess we'll say aliens, like the energies that were reaching out to me, they were different. Like there were like two groups, I guess. I don't know if I really explained it to you in the video when I was like talking about the aliens, but it was like it's like this, it's kind of like, if you look at it, an example of us. So it's like us and then like these higher beings, like we'll say like angels or archangels or something. So it was like both connecting to me and doing those things. So it was like in order to communicate or understand what the archangels of like these aliens were saying, I have to go there myself. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, I have to like go there. It's kind of the equivalent in the sense of like God, where God will never deny you, right? Like, you can always seek out God, but that's your choice. Like, you have to seek God out, right? Like, God's not going to intervene in that way. Like, that was God's promise. I'm not going to intervene. I'm going to let you do what you need to do. That kind of thing. But someone's intervening. Like, someone... Okay, so, like, so here's what I'm saying. Like, so this is like Supreme Being, and then created this, right? And we're just gonna call it, I know this is like the Christian thing, but it's like Jesus. We'll just say that. Whether it's, I don't care. Like, whatever you want to identify God as, okay? The light being, okay? And everything that exists within here that's not right. It's like, it is, but it isn't. There's like hybrids. No, that's not right. It's not a hybrid. It's something. I'm not getting it. I'm not getting it. I'm not getting it. There's, let me just freaking finish, right? Okay, so it's like everything that exists within here, galaxies within galaxies within galaxies, everything is from this created, right? Now, when we talk about these like dark entities, okay, like, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, Illuminati or what, I don't care, like these organizations that worship, okay, I'm not talking about these like worshiping all these different demons, yada yada yada. What they're really doing, like, that's low grade stuff, no offense, but it is. But these people that are really into, like, they worship a different, completely different, like, whole other new arena, like whole other new arena. Like, it's not anywhere conceivable or comparable to what exists here. It's like a completely different bloodline. And this, you can see, they're saying you can see this in like ancient Egyptian religion, but especially in an older religion that is of like verbal, like oratory religion shared. And you're not gonna, like, you might have like relics of this old religion, but you don't have, it's not carried through. It's like, they're saying it's like carried in the spirit, like it's carried in the wind, it's carried in everything, it's carried in nature. It's like, it's all existing in here. Like, it's like, you can just, like, it's like here, like I could just see it, like it just exists. It's like, you can touch it, you can feel it, you can know it if you like know where to look. That's what it feels. It's kind of like the example they're showing me is like the stars. It's like you always exist in a world where it's bright, and the stars are always there, but you don't know they exist. And so there's like one spot in the world that has darkness, and that it opens up your mind into realizing the stars are always there, even in the light. So it's that feeling where it's always been here, it's always here. You can know if you know how to find it, and if you know it exists, then it's kind of like, once you have that map in your mind and you kind of expand, right, of how like the world moves and all of this, then in theory you could always find like the stars, where the constellations, like where they're at, even if you can't see them, right? And then you'll know where to go to actually visually see them. And then of course they're showing like space and like how you can explore space, right? And so it's like all of these, it's the complexity of that, but also the simplicity of it always being there. So what they're saying, like, who's saying this? It's like these energies, I'm talking about these alien energies, and then also like my guides, sort of, kind of, they're just like, they're guiding. They're not really like telling me this. It's, these are energies, but they're saying that these people worship a whole separate God, right? So it's like a whole separate God. Like, this is the light God that we know, that we are of. This is who they worship. A completely separate everything. Galaxies is like worlds upon worlds upon worlds, and they're showing me a flower unfolding, and it's like, you know, you can see this pattern and everything, right? And so, but it's like the same thing there. It's like, it's completely different. And so they believe that they like an asteroid or something, like they landed here somehow, like some crash thing, like somehow they were able to come into this world, like a long time ago, before we were ever really like as it's not as complex, I'm not gonna say that, but it's like there's so many things being created upon, right? It's like constantly being added onto in this, like, universes and galaxies and all this, like, it's like constantly doing that. So it's when everything was a little bit less complex in that way, like we weren't as spread out, and they weren't here on Earth, they were somewhere else. They came from somewhere else, but that somewhere else was this portal for them to come in, and from there then they were able to eventually descend into Earth, right? And it's different than Satan. It's like I don't think they don't work alongside Satan's of this world. Like, it's different. It's completely different. And they're pointing out those tall, dark beings I was talking about. And they're saying that that is representative of what I'm talking about. They're like these completely different. And so these people, like, they worship this God or gods, because there's, you know, the supreme being has made others that are also good, but it's like, I'm only going to talk about one as if it was one, but the impression that I'm getting is that there's several. So they worship this, and because they're the bloodline, they're of that bloodline, but they had to hybridize in order to be like to like steady here more. And they're saying you'll know it's like something to do, you know, I know, like, I don't really know much about that whole reptilian thing, but because they're saying like a slit in their eyes, and their eyes are like going more narrow, and they're saying like you can tell by this slit in their eyes, something like that, like that's how you'll know. But it's more of like energetic, I don't know, because then they're like shaking, and it's like, it's so rare, it's so rare, it's so rare. And so anyway, then they're saying okay, so what they do is they worship, right? They worship this god, and what they're trying to do is like they recruit people, and they try and tell people that they're from this particular place, and they're like granted all this stuff, they're special, you know, all this kind of stuff, but it's a lie. They just take them to like this off-world place, but still within this arena, right? So I'm gonna call these like arenas. These are arenas, you know, because it's like all encompassing what this is. So it's like these demons, I don't know, they're like other world, it's not a other arena demons. It's like the head honchos of that. They get the bloodline to lie to others of recruiting them into it and saying like, you know, if you go back to my other videos and I talk about like star, I don't know, like they're like star trackers, like they track people, their souls, but then they also like jump other worlds, like they jump. And that's like where they kind of like, it's like these dark worlds that they like promise for people of, you know, being worshipped and so on and so forth. And like, but they make it an illusion. Like this is, they trick you into thinking that it's like, that's where you're from, or like, that's where these other arena gods are, all of this, and you're part of it, you know, when it's just still within this arena. You get what I'm saying? Like they're like, you're this is what they try and like, it's like a smoke screen, like this is what it is, this is what it is, when it's not, you see, but they're still doing the bidding, of these demons, because what their goal is like to kill us off. I don't know why. It's like, just feels like hatred. It's like competition, like hatred and competition. That's what it feels like. There's not really a like reason. You know, it's not like, it's just hatred. And I just see them, like, the image I'm getting is like it being eaten, like it's like food, like it's kind of like, the feeling that I got is like, just because you can. So there's like this kid, and I'm seeing like bunny rabbits and dandelions, like the ones that have like that are already seeded, and like little just like bugs, and then the kids smashing everything and like eating, you know, and like torturing these things just because they can. It's not really like just because it can. So why this is even coming up, they're saying like, okay. So we're gonna come up with like some choice of like who we want to worship. Like this is gonna be more like a mainstream, or like more known, or more talked about, something like it's gonna be out more, and there's gonna be just like a lot of energies coming in. So it's more of like trying to decide, like, or not decide, but like try and like know yourself more, to know your origins, and to know kind of like what you're up against. And there's something about like it being like, there's time out, okay, like not scrap it, but like move all to the side. There's so another subject, they're talking about like spiritual battles, right? but how like beings have come to this world as human. Okay, so whether it was Jesus or, you know, Buddha, Krishna, I don't know who these who are these people, right? Anyone, Harriet Tubman, like all these people that are seen as God, like avatar God, or saintly, like something, they are very likely from like off-world, still in this arena, but off-world beings, or direct reflection, you know, of the light source of like our Father. But they're pointing out how it was in human form, right? So if this would have happened in similar fashion elsewhere, of like whatever kind of way that they are, some mermaid land where it's like always dark, they have no concept of a sun, they don't have a sun there, it's like they see it in their form, but it could also very well be the same being that has come here. So you see, it like reaches the level of which we are at in order to give us a concept of that light. Like it's like if I come down as my true, like it's like if you saw me in my truest thing, it's like it's too much, right? But they're pointing out like we're becoming more spiritual. We're identifying as more spiritual. We're not more enlightened, right? But we're more like spiritually based. Collectively, that's what we're heading towards, of like, they're just showing like floating up there, like we're all kind of floating up there, like really coming back to seeing ourselves more of spirit, and like seeing the spirit, and it's just the way things are happening. So it's like paying attention to what comes through in spirit. Like when we start becoming more of that, then is it going to come through in a different way? I'm asking about like the end of the world and stuff like that, and they're like, don't derail. But it seems relevant, so there's that. So yeah, like people here know of this other arena, right? Like obviously, like, but I mean like people who aren't part of that bloodline. But and then they're like the whole Elon Musk thing, it's like pointing towards like, go ahead and reach for me, like these darker beings. I'm referencing that old video. So it's like, go ahead and reach for me, because in order to like look me in the face, right? I don't know how to really explain, but like be with me, you have to be of me. Like you have to like do things in order to try and get, you know, like you have to match their vibration. I'm not saying, you know, obviously, because I was observing, it's like different than observe. It's like if you want to match their energy, you just give it. I hope I'm being clear on that. But anyway, I don't know. I guess I can pull from here. I'm not really. I'm not getting anything new from it, so. That didn't come out the way I wanted, but it did come out, so that's what I got my vision. Maybe it'll unfold a little bit differently. Maybe there'll be more to it. I don't know. We'll just leave it at that, though. I'll talk to you guys later.